So welcome, our brilliant, beloved colleague, Seth. It's been years working with you, and I'm so inspired and grateful for you to join us here today. And as always at Setsi, we begin all things by acknowledging our creator, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Seth, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Yeah, I'm Seth Asimakos. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Cladis Scope Social Impact, which is based in St. John, New Brunswick. We started as a micro lender about 25 years ago, and now have diversified to bigger social finance deals that include up to developers of affordable housing. We also do training around entrepreneurship, financial empowerment, even energy auditing as well. And then we also develop and manage affordable housing and purpose real estate as well.
Incredible. Lots of success and lots of hard work. My next question is, what inspires you right now? What has you curious? What's lighting your fire?
Well, I mean, with the crisis around housing, especially, that's become so acute, that's what keeps me up at night, at least, and trying to find solutions and managing significant projects in that regard, both on the ones that we're delivering, but also getting financing out to other developers. Trying to figure out how do we leverage systems change and legislation that stops the continual bleeding of affordability while building affordable housing. It's a tough slog. As you know, we lose more affordable housing than we're building right now. And so we have to have builders, but we also have to have legislation, rent controls that minimize housing costs. It's really, I think, the toughest issue right now.
I couldn't agree more. My colleague and I always talk about the work the Minister Sean Fraser is doing and some of the folks that are trying to push the agenda around affordable housing and all the crisis around housing in Canada, which is tremendous. So once again, I applaud your leadership and all that you're doing for so many. So my next question, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your team are utilizing to overcome these challenges and barriers?
I mean, there's challenges continually around liquidity. I think in organizations like us, to be able to seize opportunity and scale a best practice, whatever. So when you get into especially the housing development space, they are big costs, and there's always delays in money coming. So cash flow issues certainly is a big thing, and we see that on our other side when we're financing others, and that's one of the important pieces that we do is to fill those gaps to bridge financing. So that's kind of the challenge, I think, in the development space for sure. I think there's challenges around managing as an organization like us with different pillars of activities, the different aspects, making sure that we're attending to our own human resources and ensuring that they're well looked after, and because there is a lot of stress. I think in general, people who are working with organizations like that are really mission-based. They have kind of fire in their belly about what they want to get done, but it's a tough slog given where we're at right now.
Indeed, I couldn't agree more. So do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work?
Well, some of the things that we're looking at is it's certainly in raising more capital for our fund. That's a huge priority. We have like 3 $1.5 million right now in our pipeline of asks. And it's not a lot compared to bigger areas of Canada, but for us, that's quite a bit. It leverages $95 million and 400 and odd units of housing. So it's significant. So that's one big element. The other is, getting our projects that we have built. We've had delays of one thing or another, so that's a priority to get through 2024 and manage it, because we have 3 projects, roughly $15 million altogether of projects to be built. And again, I get back to the liquidity issue. We have the same issues that the developers that we lend to. So those are our 2 biggest priorities. Within that, on an organizational basis, we're doing a cultural assessment, basically a team alignment to our values, because we're doing so many things. Sometimes you lose attachment with each other. You lose, okay, what are we focused on to make sure that we're heading in the right direction? So that's a piece that we're doing, and that's going to feed into a new strategic plan for us as well. But the values piece, I think, is important to start with, so that everybody feels that we're headed in the right direction as a foundation. Like, your values are the foundation, and then we can look at the market and look at where we're in it and set our goals and so on. So over the next 6 months, that's what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Incredible. So my next question is, how do you feel about the future of affordable housing and social finance in Canada? Are you optimistic, pessimistic? Are you hopeful?
It's hard. Some days you're pretty pessimistic. Before the holidays, we have an encampment on one of our sites that we're supposed to have a building, but there were delays, so we haven't even broken ground on that site. So, people started moving in with tents, and we started supporting them. And now what we're doing is looking at, bringing in containers just to provide better shelter than they got. It's bridge to housing. It's not housing, it's bridge to housing. So that can be very frustrating. I see huge opportunity if we can unlock capital and get it focused on what we're trying to do. That's certainly something, with the social finance fund, that gave me a lot of excitement initially. It's taken a long time, from 2018 to finally starting to move that money out the door. But we have to leverage that, because it still remains a small piece given the problem that we're facing, right? And it will not replace good legislation. So we still have to have legislation that states that unending market increase or rises in rents is not, if you have no cap on that, you just cannot build enough housing. So there has to be a balance. I was at the announcement the other day, and one of the politicians said, we just got to build more housing and then it will correct itself. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, yes, we need to build housing faster, better, but we need legislation as well.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And especially around the social finance fund. We could talk about that for an hour in terms of the economic statement of 2018 and where we're at right now. So we'll leave it right there. So my next question is, what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
On an organizational basis, it's having a sustainable organization that can continue to finance others, also continue to create opportunities for individuals through our own developments around purpose real estate and training. And so creating sustainability through your margins is my goal eventually. And creating enough liquidity so that you can actually do bigger, better things, right? So that's on an organizational base, and my feeling is that we can do that, and we can grow beyond New Brunswick. We're basically in all corners of New Brunswick now, but even beyond that, on an ecosystem level, I would really like to see the social finance fund grow, be added to. That we need to find a way to support national networks. They cannot, if you look at the United States, their national network around social finance is supported by government, both at the local and the state level, or the national level, through the Bankers Reinvestment Act. We don't have anything like that here, and we need something like that in order to continue to build the ecosystem. This amount of money is not going to do it. It's a good start, but we have to think bigger.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
Well, my call to action is to, as a social finance organization, is to get involved with your local community investment organization, find ways to invest in it. I think that's one of the key elements, and convince others to do the same. It's one way that we can actually put money to use, and where it goes.
Ashe. Seth, thank you so much for your consistent leadership, your candor, authenticity, and for always being there when we call on you. You're a remarkable soul, and you're doing the work. And as always at Setsi, we close the way we began, by acknowledging our creator, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Seth. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Victor.